It is so
simple.
Let me show you. If you're watching this video, I'm gonna guess you're looking to improve the quality of your mixes and or the consistency in that quality. If you stick around to the end, I'm gonna show you a powerful technique, and here's the best part. It works for all genres. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so with the DAW open, I wanna give you the what we're gonna be talking about, why we're talking about it, why is it important, when should we be doing this, and how are we gonna be doing it? So let me play you the example. This is my song after I've done what's called a fader down mix. That is what we are gonna be talking about today. Balancing our mix only with the volume faders. So let's listen to what the idea sounds like. Now the technique I'm going to teach you in this video, a fader down mix, I've performed that to this example. So what we're going to do for the teaching side of it, I'm going to scramble this all up, I'm going to take off some processing, and we're going to do it together and try and get it back to a point where it sounds this balanced, this good. But the why. Why am I taking the time to make this video? Why do I think it's important to share this? So this is a technique that we actually teach within the Cosmic Academy program to our students. We've worked with 500 plus. They signed to some of the biggest labels like Spinnin, Toolroom, Anjuna, Armada. They're playing festivals like EDC. We just had 3 students there. They're able to do those things because they're making consistent quality music. This technique here is a pillar for consistent quality music. So I think it's something really important. I'm hoping as you see this, you'll be able to find value. And for me, the best part about this is it works for all genres as it did within our community with our students, and it works for all skill levels. It's a rather easy technique that I think can be understood in a 10-15 minute YouTube video. So let's scramble this project up, let's make a mess of it, and then let's talk about the when we're gonna do this and how we're gonna do it. Okay, I've gone ahead, I've messed with the levels. Now we're working with the same song, but it sounds like this, just from changing the volume levels. That's a far cry from the previous version you had just heard that was balanced. So let's talk about when do we do a fader down mix and how are we gonna do it? And we're gonna do it together today. So before I go any further, I wanna make sure you don't miss any of our future videos either. We got some really cool shit that's coming. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, throw us a like. It helps this video reach more people. That's ultimately our goal. And let's continue on and check out what we have here. When? 2 distinct times. You can do this while you're working, meaning as you're producing, as you're getting more and more elements into your track, you might notice it starts to sound like this. You feel like you're getting away from maybe the balance you started with. As more instruments get into the mix, your ears are getting a little fatigued, you start to lose place, and things can sound a little bit sloppy and messy like this. You could always stop and perform a fader down mix then. You can also do this at a dedicated mixdown stage, meaning you finish the production, you got all your sounds in there, and you're ready to mix the song down. The first thing you should do in a mixdown is start with a fader down mix. Get control of your track strictly using the volume faders. So let's talk about how. How are we going to turn this sloppy version back into the version we started with? And it's going to be the fader down mix. Okay, step number 1. We are going to take all of our channels, and at the same time, we're going to bring their faders all the way down to negative infinity, like you see I've done. So I've just lowered everything down to silence, so nothing is playing at the moment. Next step I have to ask myself is, what are the most important elements in my track? Because what we're going to do is start to bring the faders up in order of importance. Now, I like to think macro first, then go into the micro. So if I'd ask myself, what are the main elements in this track? This being a melodic house track, where maybe if you're making a different type of genre, these elements may change. It's always going to be genre specific. For me, I'm thinking kick, bass, drums. Those are probably my 3 biggest for this type of song, where I'm going to focus on getting their balance correct first. then I'll go to the lead, then I'll go to the vocal, then I'll go to the atmospheric pad layers. That's based on importance. What are the most important elements? Kick, bass, drums are my biggest three. Then I'm going to go to the lead melody, then I'm going to go to the vocal, then I'm going to go to the pads. And if you're unsure of this, you could always listen to other songs too as a measuring stick. Keep in mind though, you don't have to copy what another song is doing. So let's start then with the drums. Now let's go more to the micro level. Within my drums, are all of these layers equal? Of course not. Certain layers are going to be more important, like maybe my hi-hats or my clap. So I'm going to start to bring the fader up by importance, and you're going to see it's a fluid situation. I'm going to keep tweaking things, but I'm going to do this in real time. I want you to see me do this in real time as if I was mixing this myself, but keep in mind what I'm going to do is base things by importance as I bring their volumes up. So step number one, let's go to the kick, and I'm just going to bring it up to a level. Let's just set it -6. It doesn't matter. That's not even technically -6. That's just my fader position. I just want volume so you could hear it. So we have the kick first. Okay. Let me maybe bring in some hats now. Now here's the trick. If the kick is the most important element, nothing I bring up should really bury the kick because I deem the kick is the most important sound. So if I bring in some other elements and they get in the way of the kick, it means they're too loud. Okay, let's maybe bring in the rolling hats. All right, let's go to the clap. Go to the open hat. Now notice when I bring in this open hat, I'm not going to push it to the front of the mix. Why? It's not more important than the other elements I currently have. Too loud. As I go to these secondary drum layers, they're going to be quieter than the ones we first brought in. All right, let's go to the tonal perk. All right, we got most of these elements in. Let's see what else we're missing still. Notice all these are quieter. Pretty good balance for the drums right now. I think that's everything if I just quickly eyeball. Everything's brought in, and this sounds pretty good. Let's go to the bass now. So I'm going to bring in my bass layer. Now, I don't want this to bury the kick. I'm just using volume and I'm trying to make it fit with the kick and ultimately with the drums. We may have to do some further tweaking, but just going to find a level where this is sitting and it's prominent. I can clearly hear. Okay, kind of cool. Feeling this right now. Good balance. Still have some room for things to come in. We still have a lead we're going to fit in. But so far, all we've done is re-leveled the volume based on importance. And listen to how much better this is sounding already. Let's jump to the lead. Here's a great example. This lead is not that important, lead number 2. It's a background layer. You can see it only comes in halfway through the drop. This shouldn't be jumping to the front of the mix. This shouldn't be taking your attention. That's not the purpose of this layer. All right, let's go to the vocal, get this in here now. Now in this song, the vocal's not that important for me. It's not like a phrase, it's not a verse. So that's why I'm not mixing it louder. Vocal tracks, your vocal's gonna be one of the first things you bring up in a fader down mix. So we're sounding pretty good here. Let me make a couple little tweaks. All right, let's go to some of the piano elements. Start with this one. Notice how quiet this is. I'm not making it loud. Why? Because I said that this is not that important. If I'm bringing it in at this point with everything else playing, that just shows that this is an important layer. This is not as important as my bass, not as important as the lead, not as important as those other drums. This shouldn't be taking your attention. This is filler in the background. Next layer. This was too loud. Okay, so we're starting to get a better balance than what we had when we started. Is this my final levels? Of course not. This is now where a little massaging is necessary to get it right. But by basing the volume and the faders on importance, it will naturally gain stage your mix because it's allowing the important things to be louder and the secondary elements to be quieter. Most cases when a mix is starting to sound off while we are working, it's just because the important elements are not louder than the secondary elements. So this is just a really quick exercise you can do while you're producing before a mix down that will get you to the point where the important sounds are louder than the less important sounds. All right, so I hope the fader down mix makes a little more sense for you and really something you could use today, right? Your next song or the song you're working on, just dive in and start with a fader down mix, get control over things again. If you liked this, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if you liked it, if you didn't like it. I'm always really interested because I'm trying to come up with some cool topics that we can go over that, I think are valuable, but also that you enjoy, things that you think will help you. So let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this. Also hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We're putting out a lot of video content, not just from Justin and myself, but we got cool stuff from some of the students and alumni that are coming out. If you're also interested in the program, there's a link somewhere in the description. You can always click that. Until the next video, I wish you well, and I'll catch you real soon.